Hey guys, it's been a while since I've shown you how my houseplants are doing. So let me show you what's going on in here. I'm not sure what type of plant this is. It does have a lot of flowers. I think this one is poisonous to pets, so it's not a good one if you have a pet. But it is beautiful, and I think I should turn it around so we can see the blooms. But it's got some beautiful blooms on it. Lovely red. I hope you can see in this lighting, this is morning lighting, and this window only gets morning light. These are some snake plants that I rooted. I think these were from leaf cuttings, and I had them in water, and then I planted them up in soil last year. They've been really slow growing, but I think they're doing well. It's starting to look like real plants now and not just starts. And then under here I have some Ponytail Palms doing really well. I just put them in this cute basket. I really like how that looks. I think I'm going to do more baskets around, but those are some 3 Ponytail Palms grouped together. So their bulbs are getting nice and big. And I can show you over here. This is a larger plant that I got, and there are 3 bulbs growing in here. So Ponytail Palms look really nice in groups as well. Under the table with my Ponytail Palms, I have a jade plant. It's doing okay. I think my other one died from overwatering. This one really prefers to be really, really dry, and they like a lot of sun. So it does okay. I think it could probably use more sun, but it's still coming along. I just potted this up. This came in another plant. I think it had an orchid with it, and also a Sansevieria. But I potted this in its own plant pot, so that's a beauty. Let me know if you guys know what this is. Sometimes when I don't buy a plant myself, I don't always know what it is. And I've got lots of spider plant cuttings all around. I try not to root them because I end up with so many spider plants, but that one's doing really well, and I think it likes the light situation here. These are some more Sansevieria cuttings I rooted. They seem to be a taller variety. And I'm happy to show you that I have a little pepper seedling coming up here and one little artichoke plant. So I don't know if any of my other artichoke plants will come up for the garden. They were actually seeds from 2 years ago, but one did sprout. And I have 1 pepper plant so far. They're pretty slow to sprout. So they're back here with my house plants. They get morning sun, and they're on top of a heating vent instead of a heating pad, since I don't have one. And then back here, I'd say my Fiddle Leaf Fig is pretty happy. I just removed a wayward leaf. I think sometimes if you remove one leaf, it makes such a big difference in the sculptural quality of a plant. It was hanging straight down in here, and I think I like to see the stem better, and it just, sometimes you just have to look at your plants and prune them to your liking, and you know, make sure that they look good. And then under here I have some Enjoy Pothos. It's right down here. It's the white and green variegated Pothos. And it looks like this is reverting. Part of the plant is reverted back to all green. But I have that growing underneath my Fiddle Leaf Fig. They're sharing a pot. But I'm pleased with how it looks. And I had this in my family room, and I moved it in here, and I think it likes the light in here. This was a plant that was my mom's. This is a Philodendron. It's a heart leaf Philodendron, and it was rooted from cuttings, and it's doing well. And I have many other cuttings growing throughout the house. It's a really easy one to root. The original plant that all the cuttings came from was from my childhood, so that one is really special, and I have to keep perpetuating that. This is a Monstera plant from my daughter's plant from college. And that plant's name is Winston. I'll be showing you Winston in a minute, but this is doing well in itself and becoming quite a large plant on its own. And I hope you can see it with this kind of spotty lighting. We're starting to lose some of that morning light, but look at the leaf on that. Look how beautiful that is, guys. That is just a beautiful plant, a Monstera. I think everybody should have one, but they do grow quite large, so you do need space. And I know sometimes we're short on space, and I have to back way up, trying not to move too fast, but my lemon tree is doing amazing. Look at this. This is the one my sister gave me when she moved. And it actually had a rough ride in the car, but it's still doing well. But look, guys, look at this. I have a cathedral ceiling here, and it's getting close to the top. So it is still doing well. It only lost about 5 leaves this winter, which is quite remarkable. But I do keep that light on it. Right now that light's on the Monstera, but I usually have it aimed towards the lemon tree. But it's doing fantastic. It's absolutely enormous. So that will go out in a sheltered location this summer and enjoy some time outside. But for now, it's doing really well, and I was so pleased that it survived the transition between homes, because I know sometimes plants don't like to change their environment. But this, so far, so good. Here is Winston peeking around the corner from the family room, and Winston is absolutely huge. Winston loves being here in the family room. This room gets afternoon light, and it's pretty strong in the winter because the trees lose their leaves out back, and it gets a lot more sun in the winter. So I would say winter is probably its favorite season. It gets the most light. But Winston is huge, and I've chopped Winston back many times. These are very easy to root. If you prune them back, you just pop their cuttings in water, and they're just wonderful plants. And I have a small batch of plants here, kind of a funny assortment of things. I do have the amaryllis that was a gift from my friend, and that one is throwing up a bloom stalk, so I'm waiting for that to open up. And I have a little bit of Coleus left from some cuttings I took, and I'm happy to say this was my favorite Coleus, so that'll go back outside in the spring after the danger of frost. But Coleus actually are very nice house plants. So if you're able to successfully take cuttings, that's always a good thing to do with your outdoor Coleus. Take cuttings and bring them in for the winter. And this is more of the philodendron, the heart-shaped heart leaf philodendron from my mother's plant. And I have this little African violet that's not blooming, and it was actually on the floor. I think it was too cold, so it's looking a little droopy around the edges, but I think now that I've moved it up here, it will do a lot better. It will hold its leaves up. And then here I just have a little cutting of a Thanksgiving cactus here, Schlumbergia. And they don't do so well for me. I just think I don't have enough light for them. But that is a cutting from a plant that wasn't doing so well. I just saved the good parts. And over here, this is a different one. This one has kind of smaller leaves. So I really liked the way that looked. And this one is the typical one with the larger leaves. Again, not doing the best, but hanging in there. And then this is my mistletoe cactus here. I love the structure of that. Look at that, guys. Look at how that grows. I hope you can see it. It sends out these really tall sticks. It almost looks like sticks. And when they get really tall, they trail over the edge, and they become this interesting kind of sculptural, succulent cactus, mistletoe cactus. So I think that's in the Rhipsalis family. And then this one is, I think this is a Rhipsalis Paradoxa. It is constantly really skinny. I try to keep it watered, but I would say it's barely hanging on. I think maybe this soil needs changing. It dries out, but look how long it's getting, guys. So I'm not loving the way it looks now, but I think I need to give it maybe a a new pot that perhaps holds water a little bit longer, I think it would appreciate that, because I don't think it really likes to dry out, and I just have a feeling that the soil is spent. So that'll be a project in the next couple weeks, but it is still hanging in there. And that's a Rhipsalis Paradoxa. You can barely see it, it's so thin. And then over here, these are my dragon fruit seedlings. I grew these from a dragon fruit probably 3 years ago now, and it's really starting to get to be a major plant here. And my string of hearts is doing okay. I had cut it back and put a lot of the cuttings back into the plant, and it's thickened up. I hope you can see it in this light. It's a little bit hard to see in this light, but that has beautiful leaves on it. So I would say in the spring it will probably start sending out more length. So that is the string of hearts. I have a Dracena back here doing pretty well, and a spider plant cutting that I popped in a pot back here, and that's doing nicely too. I like to have those around. They're supposed to clean the air. Actually, Dracenas are as well, but I've just popped, just to save some space, I popped the spider plant cutting back there. And then this is a Dracena that my daughter gave me many years ago. And I just cut it back. It had one tall stalk, and I cut it back in a couple places. And hopefully it's going to send out more branches. And I've had it for many years. Done a lot of cutbacks on it. And this is my little lemon tree. My sister grew a huge lemon tree, and I grew this little one. But I'm pleased to say I think it's finally taking off. I did give it a little bit of fertilizer, and it has some new branches along here. So it's hard to see with all the green on green, but it's gained some height, and also lots of new branches down here. And I was trying to do a tree before, but I think I'm going to let it bush out. It seems to want to send out a lot of branches. And I think if the plant wants to grow that way, that is what I should do. So I hope you guys can see that. It's kind of hard to see against the other greens. I had to trim back this Ponytail Palm. It was getting quite trampled next to the door here. So some of the foliage was looking a little tattered, but it's doing super well. As you can see, the bulb has really gotten, the caudex has really gotten thick. This is a Burrow's tail cactus, and it is slated for a repot. This just doesn't look so great. It's just kind of eking along. And here's a Ponytail Palm that I rescued, that I did not need at all, but I rescued it from Lowe's, I would say late summer last year. And it was on sale. It was falling out of the pot, and all I did was put it back in the pot. I just stuck it back in upright, and it has a lot of nice branches. It's kind of it's going to be a multi-topped one. It's got a thick stalk and then a bunch of foliage growing from the top. But I just love Ponytail Palms. They're my favorite. And I'll give you another view of my Dracena. It's looking quite well. And I just had a friend ask me about her Dracena, and we decided it was overwatered. So Dracenas are quite drought tolerant, and I would say you should probably not water them any sooner than 10 days. 10 days in between watering, 10 to 14 days actually, is perfect for a drought tolerant plant like a Dracena. So hopefully she'll get hers back on track. And here is another dragon fruit plant. This is the moon cactus cuttings. This was the base of the moon cactus that had died, and I put it in here. This might be the original one back here. You can hardly see it. Back there, that is the little original one. But it kept putting out arms, and every time I got a new arm, I would cut the arm off, and I would replant it. So I hope you can see that. I'm just showing you a massive foliage here. But these are all doing well. All of the arms rooted, and now they're all, you know, each their own plant. Look at the size of this one is doing really well. Over here, I have my Sansevieria, my snake plant, and it's baby. I think you guys saw me take some cuttings from this one, and I rooted them up in water and potted them in some soil, and now I have these wonderful plants living together. Don't they look great, guys? So they're still doing well. The babies are still doing well, and that's always a great thing to do. And it's much better than taking a leaf cutting. I took really large cuttings, and they were kind of like plantlets, and I put them in water and rooted them. And they grow much faster that way than taking a leaf cutting, I have found through my experiences. And this is another Sansevieria that I have here. It gets afternoon sun. It's just enough. It gets about an hour of sun. It's in bright indirect light, but the direct sun it gets is only about an hour. I think it's called Moonshine Sansevieria, but its new foliage is very light colored. It's almost silvery, and then it goes into a green. So that's where it gets its name. It has kind of this silvery sheen on the newest leaves. So yeah, so that is what I have in my family room and my living room. And in my front foyer, which is quite bright, I have this very reliable rubber tree, and it's doing great. It dries out and then I water it again, but it is doing well. And I don't know if I've shown you this really pretty new basket. I'm trying to get more baskets for my plants. I think I really like that look. But that one is doing well. It's got nice shiny leaves, and I think it's, you know, it's putting out, as we get longer days, as spring approaches, it is putting out some new growth here. So that one continues to do well. And that is my rubber tree plant. And you know, guys, when you find a good spot for a plant, that's where it should live. It's really got to tell you where it's happy. So I'm really pleased with how that's doing. And I do want to show you also in my front foyer here, I have this cute little table and a golem jade. It's doing well, and I really like how it looks on that small table. And it seems to be just enough light for it to be doing well. And you can see there are little rainbows on the wall. The sun streams in mostly in the morning for this little guy. Very cute. And the last thing I'll show you is in this room on this desk I have a couple of Pothos plants. One is the original plant. I think this is the original plant here. And this is probably its babies. And it's a golden Pothos, although it has reverted, probably due to whatever light conditions I give it. It's mostly reverted back to an all green, which I think is lovely as well. So that's fine. So I have a whole jungle here on the desk, mostly just these two plants and a couple of orchids. I have a baby orchid and a larger orchid. And they're doing fine. I'm just waiting to see if they send up bloom spikes. But they're doing fine in this morning light. And the Pothos like it in here. They're a morning indirect light type of plant. So they're doing well. It's quite a jungle in here. So that's my houseplant tour for the day. And I hope you're enjoying your houseplants as well. I know they really keep me going in the winter when I need to see some green. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.